G'day, guys. Coach Matt here. Just before we get into today's episode of the podcast, quick reminder if you didn't listen last week, we have a couple of spots left on our Performance Project Marathon Training Camp. It is June 7th to 9th in the Hunter Valley. It is a marathon, half marathon training camp. So if you are doing or have done a marathon, half marathon this year, you're eligible to come hang out with Georgia and I, a whole bunch of other people, like-minded people. You do not need to be an elite athlete, an above average athlete, any sort of expectation athlete. You can just rock up and train, have a great time, hang out with a bunch of cool people. We do team dinners. We have probably going to have a videographer there, do Q&As. We all hang out for the whole weekend. It is a whole lot of fun. The camp starts on June 7th on Saturday, about 10 a.m., 11 a.m., something like that. Runs through till Monday the 9th, which is the public holiday. Finishes sort of 9, 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. Just see how we get on there. It is $800. We have 2 spots left. Only 2 spots left. So please, if you're interested, you can message us on Beyond the Finish Line Instagram, which is linked below, or the Performance Project, which is also linked below, both of them on Instagram. First come, best dressed with spots. 2 spots left, June 7th to 9th in the Hunter Valley in New South Wales. It is the best time. Our camps are absolutely unreal. We normally don't even open them up to the public. We normally are strictly in-house for the Performance Project. However, we happen to have a few spots left. So we thought we'd open it up to Beyond the Finish Line listeners. So guys, if you're interested, now is the time. Got to act quickly, jump in. We are going to close Rego at the end of this week. So what is that? That is going to be the end of this month, end of May. So the 1st of June, spots are closed. June 7th to 9th, Hunter Valley, New South Wales. The cost is $800. It is a marathon training camp. You get to hang out with Georgia, me, the whole team, the whole Performance Project team. It's going to be an unreal experience. We have so much fun. We do non-running related activities as well, so it's not just running. If you've ever been curious about it, I really, really recommend coming along. They're the most fun. Once you go to one of our camps, you will not be able to wait for the next one. Honestly, they're the highlight of my coaching year. We run 4 a year, and they are so much fun. So, guys, if you're interested in the marathon training camp, June 7th to 9th, Hunter Valley, New South Wales. Cost is $800. Make sure you message us at either the Performance Project on Instagram or Beyond the Finish Line on Instagram. Both are linked below. And just say, I'm interested in coming to training camp. Boom. We will get back to you. We'll sort it out. There are only 2 spots left. First come, best dressed. With all of that being said, welcome back to the episode.
Hello and welcome to Beyond the Finish Line. This is episode 18. If you're new here, I am Georgia. I am a marathon runner and social media enthusiast. And we're also here with Coach Matt. You are an Ironman and you're a coach. How are you?
I'm good now that I have my co-host back and I don't have
Yay!
to carry the weight of the world on my shoulders. But yeah, it's great.
I'm so happy to be back. I am fresh off the plane from Bali and from Europe and I'm feeling good. I'm excited to be here.
Good. You've had a month of just hanging out. Now you can get back to doing some work.
I know. I can't believe that it's over. It's crazy. It feels like it went so quick, but also it didn't, if that makes sense. It was just the most amazing time.
Yeah, I don't know if it's different for other people because you and I talk quite a bit, but like this is probably the longest we haven't spoken since we started working together. So there was a part of me that I was like, oh, I haven't spoken to Georgia in a month. That's weird. But then also it was like,
I know it did. I was thinking this today actually when I messaged to be like, let's record, even if that was today. I can't even remember what day it is right now. But it is the longest we've gone not talking. It feels a little bit weird. Missed you a little bit, Matt. Missed our chats.
Don't lie. You were off in Greece drinking cocktails, just being like, oh, life's so hard. I really needed to refresh, blah, blah, blah. We're all back here in the rain, slaving away. You're just enjoying European summer.
I've got to say, gosh, seeing all of the stories of everyone running in the rain and I'm just in the sun in the summer and I was like, oh, I don't want to go back. And then getting off the plane today and it's dark and it's cloudy. And I
Just
was like,
miserable.
oh, miserable.
Have you got any flooding in Sydney?
No, not really. I have heard that it's pretty brutal up northern New South Wales at the moment, which is a bit obviously very sad, but hopefully it calms down a bit.
Yeah, I think we're right on the edge of the flooding at the moment. It's pretty hectic.
Oh, geez. Gosh, it's really like come back to reality. I didn't really check the news too much while I was away. Obviously, the important things like the election and all that crap. But yeah, far out. It's intense to come back to.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just everything goes through cycles, doesn't it?
Life, I know. But yeah, the month went so quick. And yes, as you said, Mike, we barely talked, which is different for us because usually every day I'm like, oh, what am I doing today? Or we're talking about training or content or anything like that. And the only messages I got from you was you giving me shit about you having to do everything. Poor Matt.
The funny thing was I only did one episode by myself. Like, everything else we pre-recorded and did, but no one else knows that. So it's funny.
I know we did. We pre-recorded quite a bit before I left so that there wasn't any, gaps in the podcast for you guys. So you had plenty to listen to. I have a lot to catch up on. I have a lot to catch you guys up on. So it's exciting to be back.
I'm just thinking, we actually nailed it perfectly. Like, we're not going to miss a week, and we thought we would miss a week.
I know. We were prepared to miss a week. We thought, hopefully everyone will understand. But as I said, just got off the plane. I was like, let's do this. It's 5 p.m. and I've had a V, so it should be interesting. I've had a 3-hour nap. I'm all over the place.
You'll be right, man. That's the content special, isn't it? Just get caffeinated out of your eyeballs and record it whenever you can.
Yeah, exactly. As I said, it'll be fun. I'm excited to talk. This is going to be a fun episode to talk about things. So it's definitely not hard to sit and chat when it's something you're so excited to talk about.
It's interesting. I'm actually going to be interested to. My husky is losing his. My husky has severe ADHD. You know how they say animals take on their owner's personality?
I know, I can hear the dog. I'm like, oh, this dog is exactly like you.
My husky Jack is a fucking lunatic if he doesn't exercise, and because it has been raining so much, he's been stuck inside. And he is just not coping. He's not coping. He's just losing his shit.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So anyway, I was going to say, I was actually interested to hear your race recap because I feel like so many people, they make race recaps out to be so much more than what they are, or maybe I really minimalize it, but I'm just like, yeah, I raced, this went well, this didn't, the end. And then other people have like a 40-minute story about it. I'm just like,
yeah. I mean, I feel like this is for me, it's a bit of a slightly different race recap than I normally would do on two levels. It's wasn't a normal serious race where I'm aiming for a time, so there's not that aspect of it, but then there's the world major aspect that's just a whole nother world that I've never experienced, and it was absolutely crazy. So I have plenty I want to share with you guys.
Yeah, well, let's I'll just run us through it. Let's go through it.
Okay. So we actually because we hadn't planned on running the race, we landed in London the day before, which is not ideal because just so many things, your body's all over the place. But we got the train from Paris and headed straight to the expo. And the expo is huge. Like, the expo here in Sydney last year was massive, and I was like, oh wow, this is really cool. But the expo in London is a whole nother ball game. Like, it is insane. There is this entire massive warehouse out at XL London. It's a big conference kind of centre, and every kind of brand under the sun is there. And there's just 100,000 people or something just in one room. It's crazy. Like, there's just so many people. And so we picked up our bibs and did all that kind of stuff, and got ourselves prepped for the race. We were still a little bit jet lagged, but it was fine. And then the call time for us for the marathon, our race started at 10:30 in the morning, which was super weird because here in Oz, when we do our races, they're always like 6:30 in the morning because you're either trying to beating the heat or you just want to get it done so they can open the roads back up. But London Marathon literally shuts the entire city down. They do not even care. They're just like, whatever, let's just run at the best time possible. So yeah, we kind of just got up in the morning and we were just chilling, watching TV, eating our carbs. It was so relaxed. It was the weirdest morning of a race I've ever experienced because, as I said, I was eating waffles. I was like, this is great. We filmed some TikToks and then I think it was about an hour to get out to Greenwich, which is, as you would know, Matt, it's right east of London, I think. And yeah, so we headed out there. Crowds were already intense. We managed to get on a tube at the right time, but we went past this one station and it was like 10 people deep trying to get on these trains. It was just absolutely crazy. And at that point I was just a bit like, oh my God, I'm nervous but so excited because this is just something you don't experience in Australia, this many people in one place at one time. Yeah, and the start lines for London Marathon.
Race? Is it like 250,000?
Raced? No, 56,000. 250,000. Jesus Christ.
So maybe it's how many people enter. I can't remember, but I remember just thinking like
250,000 people raced. Can you imagine? Jesus. No, they 56,000 raced, but this year I think they had 1.1 million people enter the ballot.
Maybe that was it.
That would have been what you saw. But yeah, the start lines for London are different to here. There's not one start line. I think there was 4. So they they stagger them all in different parks, and then at kilometre or mile 3 you all meet up and then you're all together from there. So you actually start the race with less people, so it's less crowded, less overwhelming. It's awesome.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, it was really, really good. Really well done. They have these massive semi-trailer trucks that you put your race day bags in, which was really handy. I've never actually done a bag drop at a race before because...
Yeah, that's what they do for Ironman. Or not semi-trailers, but they're big trucks, yeah.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. So you just go to your truck, give them the bag, and then the trucks just drive it to the finish line. It was an awesome way to do it. I'm definitely sold on having a race day bag after this. And in that, I kind of just packed, the classic like Panadol, spare socks, my OOFOS slides, your finisher t-shirt, I packed some chips, stuff like that, which was super handy. But the actual start line was epic. They had massive screens showing you the elites starting. So we saw like Kipchoge and everyone starting the race, which was really cool. And everyone's like cheering and they've got music. It's a really cool vibe. But 10:30 start was pretty hectic. Have you ever had a race start that late, Matt?
No.
Are they always early for you?
None of the races. If we started at 10:30, we'd be finished at midnight. Like it wouldn't work for us.
Yeah, well, I think a few people, obviously, because it's the slower marathon runners, and they were finishing in the nighttime. But 10:30 was an odd one. It just felt so strange. It was a mix of, am I racing today or what's happening? But
it was actually funny you say that because we had Ironman Australia on while you were gone the weekend after, May 5th.
Yeah.
And their swim got cancelled.
Oh, that was brutal. I saw that online.
Yeah, so that sucked. But they didn't start until they started. So when a swim's cancelled in Ironman, they take people. It's 15-second intervals, and you just go out off the bike.
Like a rolling start,
someone goes
right?
every 15 seconds. But they didn't start until 9:30. And I think most of our guys weren't on the road until after 10.
Yeah.
So it's the same sort of thing. It was just we were all just sort of standing around not knowing what to do. All the routines were thrown out, all the preparation, everything we'd practiced for months and months and months is now no longer relevant. So I do understand where you're coming from.
With the late, it's odd. It's almost like when you do a race in the afternoon, you're like, what's happening? Where am I? But
that Nike After Dark one.
Yeah, that was odd. It's a weird feeling because you're not. I don't know. I feel like I love it when it's really early in the morning because you're just
So do
the
I.
minute you wake up, you're go. It's
It's just go time. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I like that. I just like wake up and it's like I've just got one job. I don't want any other distractions. I don't want anything. Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is a funny one, but anyway, we got to the start line, we dropped our bags, we chilled, we laid on the grass for a bit, like it was so chill. But I think
Super
obviously,
weird. Is it because is there any reason why that you know? Is it just because of how many people and they've got to come from so far, or
I don't
I'm gonna
know,
Google
to
it
be
while we're
honest.
talking.
I think obviously the sun comes up a bit later and there are a lot of people. But to be honest, from when Kipchoge started to when I started was probably only an hour difference. So I think at about 9:30 or something, he would have started. And then they do like rolling starts after that. It's like group, I don't know, it's like C1, C2, C3, everything like that. So they really stagger it out. It's like these big pens that everyone goes into, and then you join kind of the starting, like the walk bit, and then that's probably 500 meters where you're actually walking before you even start the race. But
Yeah,
everyone,
it says here that it's just because of how many people.
no, there you go. Yeah, and look, as I said, they don't care about shutting roads down. Whereas in Sydney, we want to start it early so that we're not holding up the Sydney Harbour Bridge until late at night. Whereas London, the whole city
Yeah.
stops anyway. So this is like one of the biggest days of the year for them.
Yeah, and with London, like there is any road closure you can get around basically. Like it's not the end of
Yeah.
the world, or you just
Yeah.
get the tube.
It's it's an amazing atmosphere because, as I said, you have to walk to the start, and they have these special marshals with big signs that say like whatever group you're in, and they walk you to the start line. And then when they've walked you to the start line, they go back, and everyone stops and cheers them. They do like a big clap for the volunteers. It's really cool.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a nice
Yeah.
and there's like big volunteers standing with bags that they're obviously collecting jumpers and stuff, but they're also collecting all your rubbish, and they're really conscious about people making sure they're recycling and there's no rubbish left on the ground and all that kind of stuff. So it's just, they just do it so differently over there. Obviously they're so used to it, and it's not like this is their first rodeo, but there's definitely a lot I think that we can learn here in Oz from the majors and stuff that are happening overseas.
I'm sure it's a cultural thing as well. Like I'm sure if you did like the Tokyo one, it would be extremely like personal space would be very minimal. Rubbish would be zero. Like there'd be different trends from different
Super
races
clean.
and different cultures. Yeah. So super clean. Yeah, exactly. Everyone would be up like this, like fucking sardines. Yeah.
So then I'm just trying to think where we're at. We started the race and it was pretty chill. I mean, you're in Greenwich. It's beautiful little kind of countryside vibe. And there's still, I mean, the minute you start, there's people on the sidelines cheering you on. Like the minute. I'm not even joking. I cannot even explain. All the way through Greenwich up until probably, I don't know, mile 5 or something, there was people scattered, but there was people there. And then the crowd is just 3 to 5 people thick the entire race. Like 40 kilometers of just people. It is wild. I think the entire race I spent just going, holy crap, oh my God, look at this. Like, Nick, this is incredible. And we both were just shocked the whole time. It's the weirdest experience, but so amazing.
I think that's like definitely the thing you take away from some of the, not all of the majors, but definitely London and definitely like Boston is the
And New
crowd.
York,
Like the
yeah,
crowd
for
just
sure,
seems
the
like
crowd.
a next level.
It is, it's wild. And people are just,
People even go viral just from like their supporter setup, like how they've got the speakers and like different things set up and like gazebos. Like sometimes the supporters get more notoriety than like the athlete racing.
Oh, for sure. And I don't think there's really any rules around what you can and can't do. I mean, in Oz, I think there's more like you have to apply to have, a DJ set up kind of thing along the course. Whereas there, like everyone in their house has a massive speaker and they're playing songs, and like you're riding and there's like a lady in her 60s playing, I don't know, ABBA or something, and she's dancing, having a fun time on her front porch. And you're just like, what is going on? There's probably, 30 people around her dancing. And then you go a couple things down and then there's a massive group of people with drums and they're beating drums. And then it's just everywhere you look, there's something different. And you definitely see the different cultures within London as well, which is amazing. So you've got all of people with like drums and things, and then they're doing their own kind of cultural thing, which is really cool. And then, just in parts where you wouldn't think there'd be people spectating, there's people spectating, like, and they're screaming for people. And, everyone's got names on their tops. So they're screaming like, go such and such, or like, go Paul. And there's so many Nicks on course that Nick was like, woohoo, like everyone's calling my name, but they weren't. But yeah, so cool. But another thing I took away from the race is they, instead of paper cups, and I mean, it's so bad for the environment, but they had the sponsor was the water sponsor, were little mini bottles of water with like a nozzle. And oh my gosh, game changer. I just was so hydrated.
Is that a game changer? Like,
yeah, I mean, when you get like a paper cup and you're trying to drink as much as you can, you don't really get that much because a bit of it spills. And I mean, you only get a couple of 100 mils out of a paper cup. These are like little 330 ml bottles and you're drinking every sip of it. And then there's another one in another, I don't know, 3 miles or something. And you get a new fresh bottle and you just chuck them out and they're like, oh, just recycle it here. And everyone's putting their thing in the bin. I mean, dangerous in terms of, I think someone rolled their ankle on one of them, but just so good hydration wise. I don't know why I've never used a little bottle like that during a race. It was epic.
I was gonna say we've been doing that in triathlon for forever.
Like bottles or?
Like they're not at aid stations, or we always run with like small bottles, and and the difference I guess in Ironman is we get special needs bags because at like the halfway points of each discipline of the bike and the run, and like we'll always have like either hand flasks or small bottles like with electrolyte mixes and stuff in it. So we've been doing that for forever.
Just ahead of the game. We get it. You guys are so much cooler than us, but us runners are like, woohoo, bottle of water.
It's different. Like you guys, if you carry 2 bottles, like it's only going to get you so far. Like we can change them over.
Yeah, exactly. And you can see obviously why the elites have the tables with bottles of water and stuff.
Exactly, it is just what the elites do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so much easier. That was a big thing for me was I want to get like a little bottle of water like that and try and train with it because it was so, I was not at all thirsty because I was just constantly just sipping on it the whole time. Nick had some Lucasade on course, which I told him not to. But he's had Lucasade before, so he was like, whatever, it's fine. And then his stomach just completely went into knots. And I think from that was
nothing
probably
new on race day.
I know, he knows, he regrets life. But yeah, 15 Ks in, he had a stitch and his stomach was just like completely in knots. And when Nick is in pain or something's happening, he doesn't really talk much.
He just shuts down.
He completely shuts down and I'm like, what's going on? Like, I need to talk to know that everything's okay. And so I'm going, what's happening? What's wrong? What are you doing? What's happening? And he's just like, don't say anything. I can't right now. My stomach is just in absolute knots. And so we're polar opposites and I'm just freaking out. Like, please don't pull out. Please don't pull out. And he's like, no, I'm fine. I just need to get through these. So it all just went downhill from there, I think. 15 Ks in, his stomach was in knots and then his knees started to kind of give in a little bit and he's just like, I've got to walk. I'm in so much pain. Like I could really tell he was in a lot of pain. And I was just like, you're not giving up. You're not DNFing this. And he's like, no, I'm not going to DNF, but I need to walk. And I'm just like, dude, you can't, like, I can't walk. My hips are shutting down from walking. So we battled from pretty much, 20 kilometers through to the finish line of just start, stop. He wanted to walk because he was in pain. I couldn't walk because every time I stopped, I would cramp. And then my hip was killing me. And it was the kind of pain where you just want to vomit from my whole leg was pretty much numb and it was shooting down into the inside of my foot and I was just freaking out. So yeah, that was fun. It was a half marathon of just absolute hell.
Yeah, but we pretty much knew that was gonna happen, like based on the
Yeah.
training and everything and where you guys were. Like both were coming off injuries. Training hadn't been awesome. Like we knew you're fit enough to do it, but it wouldn't be fun.
He did, and we have evidence during every podcast prior to this of you saying that. But I think if Nick's stomach hadn't have done the flips and his knees were okay, we would have been all right holding probably the 6:30 pace that we were doing. We were really good up until like 15 Ks. I think my hips would have been actually a lot better because the stopping just killed me. The stopping was just really bad. And then I was also then battling with the frustration of needing to stop, which was hard. And I felt really guilty for being frustrated with him for being in pain and not feeling well. And then he felt guilty that he was making me stop. But there was never going to be a point where we weren't going to run it together. And so I just had to suck it up and be like, if he needs to walk, this is what I committed to. So I think, yeah, it was testing and it was tough, mentally and physically. I think the last 10K I just was wanting to spew just because I was in so much pain, and I've got a pretty good pain threshold, I think, but it was just horrendous. But yeah, I think it was really cool seeing all the sights like Tower Bridge and coming past and seeing Big Ben, because I'd never seen Big Ben in the flesh before because it was always under construction. So that was really amazing. And the crowds are absolutely insane coming through kind of Westminster area. It was just, yeah, I can't even explain it. I think I've got a couple of videos showing how insane the crowds are, and it's just so loud. You can't even have music on because it's so loud, and it's incredible. But finishing was definitely an emotional roller coaster, that's for sure. There's a lot of
sounds
tears.
like you ran a marathon, mate.
Yeah. But everyone's so lovely. Like, I mean, I was just crying at the finish line because it said, I don't know, it was like however many yards to go. And I was like, I don't know, how far is that? Like,
In English. I thought you fucking spoke English over here. What the
I know, it's so weird. The whole race, they've got like mile 1, mile 2, mile 3. And then they've also got like kilometer 5, kilometer 10, kilometer 15. So you have a general idea. But right at the finish line to have like 500 yards to go. I'm like, how far is that?
What the fuck is that? Yeah.
And it just kept going. And I was like, I don't know when this is. And some guy next to me goes, it's okay. It's not that far. And because I knew, obviously, that part of Westminster, I had a general idea of where it was going to finish. But it was very confusing.
It's under a K, 500 yards, surely.
Yeah, I've got no idea. It was tough to work out, mentally when you're in pain, and then you're just like
500 yards is 457.2 meters.
Yeah, see, I had no idea at the time what that was. I was like, is this ever going to end? I was like, make this finish. But yeah, we ran over the finish line. I burst into tears. I pulled it together to get some photos, obviously. But then the people are just so lovely. I mean, there was just so many volunteers being like, come here, darling, like, give me a hug, like these older ladies. And they come in, they like, do you want a hug? And I'm like, yes, I need a hug. Like the lady giving me my medal gave me a hug. The lady giving me my bag at the lorries, she gave me a hug. I must
don't
have
say
looked like
lorry. You're not English.
But I think, well, that's what they call them. So it was hard.
I know that's what they call them. I'm telling you not to call it that.
In the trucks. I'm sorry. But when you're standing there and the lady and she's
hear
like...
it from, she'll start speaking with a fucking Greek accent soon. Just watch
Shut
this,
up.
guys.
Shut up. It was an accident. Yeah, so everyone's just handing out hugs left, right and centre. But there's just people are just on the ground, like in tears. It's just everyone's an emotional wreck. But yeah, absolutely incredible finish. Incredible race. Such an insane experience. I mean, I know everyone would love to run one day, so I'm so grateful, and I can't really be like, you've got to do it if you get the chance. But I know lots of people entered the ballot this year, and if you do get it, it is insane.
Yeah, I actually think your journey to the marathon is way more interesting than the marathon, personally.
Really? As in us getting tickets?
I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the story of the visualization and getting the connection through the connection through the connection, and
Yeah.
it happened to coincide with the honeymoon. Like all of that is I think is a way better story
Oh,
than running the marathon. That just from me, but maybe that's
oh,
just
for
because
sure.
you and I talk about it all the time.
Yeah, no, do you know what? I agree. I think the whole leading up to the marathon is definitely the more exciting part. I think on the day it was an unreal experience and incredible, but the pain was not ideal. And so it's hard to enjoy it when you're in pain. And so I spent a lot of the time feeling guilty that I'd been given this insane opportunity and I was in so much pain and I wasn't giving it 110%, but I just physically couldn't. But I think
Well, it depends on what 110% is. Like, based on all of your conditions and circumstances, that was 110%.
Yeah. Actually, to be honest, you're right, because I could not have pushed myself any harder, especially in the last 7K. I think I gave it every inch of what was left of me.
Yeah. So then it was 110%. Like
Yeah.
I think, yeah, people like look at results and things and they go, well, that wasn't 110%, but it's like, it's all introspective.
And this is why you're my coach and I'm not my own coach, because I really struggled with that. And I'm not going to lie, I spent a lot of the last kind of half of the race feeling embarrassed that it was going to be my slowest race and it was a world major, and
Nobody gives a fuck.
I mean, it's so true. Like it's true. You're your worst
Do you want to
critic.
know how little it matters? I didn't even look at your data or your Strava or anything. I don't even know how long it took you. You could have not finished for all I know. Like, I literally have no idea.
Look, I didn't even really look at my data either, because I was like, whatever. But it's just one of those things that you have to learn to get over pretty quickly, because at the end of the day, I still ran a marathon. I still had an amazing time. It was an incredible experience. I'm over it now. Like, I couldn't give a shit about my time now. I still ran it. I'm like, whatever. But at the time when I was in the Hurt Locker, that was all I could think about, was that this is my slowest race. Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like,
also the race you've trained for the least. And
yeah, exactly. I mean, I had a solid 3 weeks of training. So
yeah,
it was
also traveled internationally 48 hours beforehand. Like, nothing, again, like, it's all just about circumstances.
Yeah. And I mean, gosh, I am so hard on myself. But
I think people are hard on themselves without, they base what they're being hard on based on historical data, not current data. Don't you think?
yeah. Well, yeah, for sure. I think everyone's like that, but
Yeah, but
I
it
don't
doesn't
know.
make sense.
No, it doesn't. And I don't know why I was so hard on myself. I think the minute the race finished, I was just like, who cares? The minute I crossed the finish line, I was like, I don't even give a shit. And classic Nick had to slightly go ahead of me. So he beat me by 1 second, which was really annoying because he did the same at Gold Coast. I was like, I carried you through 42 kilometers and you had to beat me, you asshole.
That's hilarious.
But it was a good test of our marriage. It was a good test of our friendship as well. I mean, I feel like I really did have to kind of carry him through a lot of it, because he was mentally just like, nah, I'm going to walk this. I'm going to walk the whole thing. And a lot of the time I was like, nope, there's a kid handing out Haribos. Have some of that. There's a water station. Have some of that. There's a bathroom. Do you need it? Nope, let's go. Here's this. Come on, let's run from this mile marker. So it is a good way to know your own strength as well as helping someone else. So as I said, as much as I was battling mentally for myself, I was like, I know he's going to regret this if he walks it. So I'm just going to make him push through it. But I think going back to what you said, I think the journey to the marathon has been so much more rewarding than the actual marathon. And looking back on the day is also really rewarding and has been an amazing experience to really kind of sit in that, which is really cool. A lot of the time you kind of just move on to the next race, but I had a solid 3 weeks to really remember everything and enjoy it and take time to get back into running instead of forcing myself to get back into it really quickly. So yeah, had some cool runs overseas and really settled in, and now I'm ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, and in like 10, 20, 30 years' time, you're not going to think back to London Marathon and think about your performance. You are going to think about the story from trying to get the tickets through to finishing. All of that
Yeah.
other stuff in the middle that seems important uh, will become irrelevant.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely will become irrelevant. And I think it's such a special story for our first ever world major. And I think when you are into the running space and you want to start ticking off your world majors to get your star, it's a cool experience. And I'm really happy that that was our first. So, yeah, definitely an awesome time and so grateful for everything. Grateful for the community, everyone messaging, just being like, I hope you had the best day. People online, saying like commenting on videos and stuff. It was just, it's cool. It was good to experience that as well.
It's interesting what people value. Like you just said, people in the running space start ticking off world majors, get a star. I don't value any of that.
Is there not a similar thing for it'd be like competing at Kona though, wouldn't it? For you?
I value Kona because that's a world championship. I understand what you're saying in terms of the
Would
crossover.
that be would that be the comparison, or is that a whole different
I
thing?
think that'd be more like Boston. But it would
Right.
only be comparable to Boston because of the qualification time.
Yes.
Um,
Okay.
But like if there was an Ironman, maybe if there was an Ironman World Championship on like if there was 7 of them or something, maybe it'd be the same. Interesting.
Yeah. I think if you guys aren't familiar with the whole world marathon major space, because I wasn't until I started running, there's currently 7 world majors. There used to be 6 up until end of last year when Sydney became a world major. So you've got your classic Boston, which you actually have to get a time for. And for women, it's like 3 hours and 25 minutes, I think, at the moment.
Something like
And
that, yeah.
yeah, well, that for that age category that I'm in, and men is like 3 hours. And so for that, you have to submit an official time to say that I can run Boston in that time. So it is hard to get into. And then you also have to have a time. I can hear Matt's probably looking up the times right now.
I am, yeah.
Do you want to tell us?
Okay, so 18 to 34, men is 2 hours 55, women is 3:25, and
There you
35
go.
to 39, 3 hours 3:30, 40 to 44, 3:05, 3:35, and just goes in 5-minute increments from there.
Yeah.
80 and over, you got to
So-
be able to run a 4-hour 50 or a 5:20. Fuck yeah. There's a goal.
Crazy, hey. It's wild. It's a big achievement in the running space to get your Boston qualifier, and everyone calls it like your BQ. And so that's kind of a time for you to be like to aim for if you're wanting to run Boston. You can run Boston with charities and sponsors and stuff where you don't
Yeah.
actually need to qualify for it. But I think for myself, I would want the qualifying time to say I ran a BQ. I think is it the first one, Boston? I don't know.
I don't know.
Can't remember. But Boston is obviously the marathon that tragically had that big terrorist attack,
Yeah,
not
the bombing, yeah.
the bombing. So there's Boston, you've got Chicago, then you've got New York, and they're the ones in America. Then you have London
Tokyo.
and Berlin, which are in Europe. Then you've got Tokyo, and now obviously Sydney. And so the original 6, so everything but Australia, you can actually, every time you tick one off, when you're on your last one, you then get a medal that has all 6 of the marathon medals on it, and they call it your star. So your 6-star finisher. Now with Australia being 7th, they give you kind of a commemorative coin thing to add to it. But Sydney Marathon doesn't currently go towards your 6-star finisher. So there were heaps of people in London. They give you like a full little thing to put on your back that says like, I'm finishing my 6-star today. And then when you finish, they give you your London medal, and then they give you a separate medal that is got all 6 stars on it. So you kind of, as you're running past these people, you're like, oh, congratulations, like have fun. Cause it's kind of like their, I don't know how to compare it to something, like this is their big moment. This is the race that's getting them. Yeah. So
and when you think about it, it's like such a crazy amount of money and time and things to dedicate just to like travel around the world running marathons.
Totally. And I mean, some people work towards it for 10, 20, 30 years. You know, they enter the ballots.
Even just from the financial aspect, forget the fitness, like to be able to afford to go to, like if you lived in Australia, all right, 1 year I got to fly to Berlin, 1 year I got to fly to London, 1 year I got to fly to Tokyo, 3 years I've got to fly to the US. Like that's tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, for sure. And I think this is why when Australia was going for the world marathon status, a lot of people in the US community were like, oh, now we have to fly to Australia. And I'm like, I was getting a bit riled up online, and I'm like, well, we have to fly to America 3 times. I mean, there's no one, it's not fair for us. So it's a lot of money. And I mean, if, as you said, it's tens of thousands of dollars. So it does take people a really long time. I mean, you'll see kind of influencers and stuff who have their 6-star really quickly because they're being paid to go over there. But
yeah, some shoe company flies them over or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, I know people in the Sydney running space who are in their 50s and 60s and stuff who've only just got their 6-star because they've worked their whole life towards it. And for some people, their last star, it might be Boston because they aren't quick enough to get the qualifying time. So they're working their whole life to just be fitter or faster or whatever to get that time. So it's crazy. So it's a big commitment if you want to start heading towards that 6-star journey, as everyone kind of says. But
it's interesting the things we put ourselves through, isn't it? The different pursuits and different things we value.
Yeah, definitely. And look, who knows? I've only done one little prong of my star, and I don't know if I'll ever get a 6-star or if I'll ever finish, but it is a fun little thing to tick off and work towards.
Yeah, you'll definitely be quick enough to do a Boston in the next 3 to 5 for sure.
I hope so. And it is, you know, there's plenty of
like that'll if in 3 to 5 years of training, you will definitely be quick enough to run a Boston qualifying time. That isn't up for negotiation.
I think I say I hope so because obviously in the future I plan to have kids, and so that puts a big kind of question mark around running. And I have a good friend in London. She just ran London Marathon, actually. I think she was 14 weeks pregnant at the time. And I was just like, oh my God, that's amazing that you can still run while you're pregnant. But then I've also got friends who are pregnant who can barely walk around the block. So that's where I say I hope so. But as you said, look, it might just take longer, and that's fine.
Yeah.
A lot of people are older when they run it. It's a sport that you can run when you're older, which is great.
And the thing with like fitness and aerobic base is like, if you spend, I'll just use arbitrary numbers. If you spend 10 years doing marathon training or triathlon training or just aerobic training, and then you go and have a kid and you don't train for 3 years, your body does not forget the 10 years of work it did previously. It will come back. Like it's not gone forever. You just need to, it'll come back. Like, so all of the stuff it's just money in the bank. Like that's the best way to think about it. Like you just got to wait till you can pull it back out again.
And I think it is a bit of muscle memory and stuff like that. And,
all of that,
and I hope that having kids in the future will only want me to inspire me to, you know, get out and run more. And it's a great thing to be able to do, you know, to get out and get outside and kind of do something for yourself. So yeah, a BQ time would be epic. I would absolutely love that, and definitely a goal to work towards. You know, as I said, when I first started running, I would never have thought I could run a sub 4. And so then a BQ is just another goal to tick off. So yeah, one day we'll see.
Yeah, 3 to 5, we'll be right.
Matt's locking in for 3 to 5 years of my bullshit.
I think of everything in 3 to 5 year plans minimum.
Wow. I think I'm like I think in this space, like in the running space, I'm like 1 year ahead. In my life, I'm 3 to 5. I know what you mean by that, but just not with running.
Obviously, for like context, like obviously everyone sees my sub 10. I'm posting about sub 10. All I talk about is sub 10. But like on my whiteboard, that's just over here to the side. And I've even shared a couple of the ideas with you, is like I'm thinking about stuff way further down the line. Like sub 10 isn't even on that board anymore. That's like ticked off in my mind. It's like just a matter of when I do it. So
yeah. No, you do. You definitely do that. And we have had those conversations where you're like, this is what I'm planning to do in 2026 and 2027. And I'm like, whoa, I can't even. And that's where we're so different and I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, don't you think about it like, at least this is how I think about it, is like, I set like the really, really big goal, and then I reverse engineer all the sub goals I need to hit. So like sub 10 is just a sub goal of the bigger goal. So
yes. I do that. I definitely do that.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I'm the same. Look, I think, the sub 4 is a smaller goal towards a BQ for me, and the BQ is the
exact same thing. Yeah,
it's the same thing. Eventually, I'm going to get there. I'm just not really. I'm thinking about the goal that's right in front of me, as opposed to the big picture. Which maybe, who knows? Maybe I need to start looking at the bigger picture.
I think there's just times and places for it. Like, I don't put any of my super big goals out there until I'm ready to act on them. I feel like if I was to post about that one that I told you about, is like posting it now wouldn't make sense, or talking about it now wouldn't make sense, because I haven't even achieved the sub 10 goal. Like,
yes, no, I agree with you.
There's a fluidness to it.
And you and I had this conversation when I was just after Sydney last year. I think I said, I want to get faster than sub 4. Like, I want to get it so far down from sub 4 that people never question the sub 4. Yeah. And I remember you saying to me, you were like, let's just get the sub 4, because you haven't even hit the sub 4 yet. So let's just make sure we get that, tick that off, and then we'll move on to the next one, because it's not, being too far ahead isn't going to make sense for everyone else. And you can mentally think that. Obviously, I'm thinking, as I said, BQ, you're thinking of your big goal for next year or the year after. And we just got to tick off those little things. In the meantime, it's like, you're having your to-do list. You've got all your things you need to do. You tick them off, and then you eventually get to the big goal.
Yeah, 100%. And like with you, yes, we said our goal is just to like really cement sub 4, but also like the sub goal of that is, what you said is like, we want to leave that 4, like we want to be comfortably into the 3s.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we're going to train for once you get your hip sorted. So
there's no 359 happening here. There needs to be a decent clearance.
So like it's all well and good to, and maybe we should have spoke about this in our goal setting episode, but it's I think it's good to have a goal but then have an expectation, or maybe it's the other way around. But like, I would say, if you have an awful day at Sydney, you are still capable of going sub 359. Like on your worst day, you should be able to complete the goal.
Oh yeah, worst case scenario, I'm still getting sub 4. Like there's no, and for me, I think
on the best case, it's like in the 340s.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I had a lot of time in the last 3 weeks to really think about that. And as you said, I do have to get my hips sorted with this MRI and everything. But I think there's still not going to be any room to not get that. I think my mind is in such a good space where I'm so ready for it. And I think this is, sorry, I'm losing my voice. I think this is as same with London, having that experience leading up into the race. I think leading into Sydney, I think I'm in a much better headspace of like, I know I can do it. Whereas last year, it was still so up in the air. And I think we spoke about in a couple of episodes ago, you talked about how you really visualized yourself with your sub 10. And for those of you who missed it, Matt said, you always would visualize yourself, and it had a 10 in it, the number you were finishing your Ironman.
Yeah.
You could always see it with
Ironman
a 10.
Australia, yeah.
Yeah, and you always saw it with that 10, and you're you were visualizing it and go, okay, well, why does it always have a 10? And then you kind of had a moment where it switched, and then you started visualizing it with 9, and there was a 9 in front. There was no 10. The 10 is gone. And I think really similar with me last year, I wasn't sure if I was capable, and I don't think I fully believed that I was capable last year. And I think I've grown so much in the past year that I know I'm fully capable, and I'm like, regardless of my hip pain and stuff, I can see that 3 in front of my official time. And I'm in the same space you are with your Ironman. I'm like, you know what? I've grown, I've got this, I can totally do it. And I think that confidence really will push me through on race day.
It's something I've thought about, been thinking about a lot during this prep, is the new minimum standard. And I don't know if I've spoke about this before, but like every prep you go through, the hardest training you do in that prep now becomes the minimum standard for the next prep.
Yep.
And I think that applies not just physically, but it applies mentally too. And like we talk about stacking bricks of fitness and building and building and building. I think I know you do that mentally as well. And like you learn from mistakes, and mistakes in training, mistakes in racing. Like your Gold Coast Marathon was a massive mistake because the reason, and I've thought about this from your perspective as well, is because you didn't believe in yourself. That's why you went out there and you're like, I'm just going to try and poach it. I'm just going to try and take it and get it done. And it bit us in the ass. But once you start understanding how your mind and body works together and what you are actually capable of, like it's amazing how you'll be able to imagine and visualize more audacious goals, but they seem less and less audacious to you. They just seem like another part of the process. Yeah,
and I think, as you said, like you go in with a bit of naivety. You know, Gold Coast, there's no way. My mind was like, there's no way I could do this, but let's give it a red hot crack.
Yeah, exactly. And the two didn't marry up.
No, and that's where I made all those mistakes because I went out too fast. I had the wrong nutrition and all those things that you learn from. But I think when your mind, as you said, when your mind and your body start aligning, that's where you start hitting all your really big goals. And
yeah, you start becoming dangerous then.
Yeah, and I never thought sub 4 was a goal, and then it was a goal. And now, you know, I would have never dreamed of a BQ, but hopefully in the next, 3 to 5 years, that's on the cards for me. And as you said, you want to start, the goals you're ticking off don't start to become less and less scary because your mind starts to catch up with what you believe you're worth and what you believe you can do. And that's so powerful. And I feel like I'm really living that right now where my brain is it's caught up with me.
Yeah, I actually feel like I'm weirdly in the exact same boat. This prep for me, I have just been so locked in, I think is the best way to do it, mentally and physically. Like there is just nothing coming in between training and result and recovery, and just like I'm just getting fitter and fitter and fitter every single day, week. Like I can see it. I can actually see it happening, and it's and like in previous preps, and that's how this whole thought process started. Was like in previous preps, my mind couldn't keep up with my body. Like I would mentally break. And now that my mind is keeping up with me, I'm actually like I'm able to physically push even harder than I ever have before, which is wild. And my mind is still keeping up with that.
And talk about divine timing. Just going back to Ironman Australia, how the swim was cancelled, and I remember I messaged you and I was like, "Wow, that is insane!" Like, imagine if you were actually racing your sub 10 that day, you wouldn't have been able to do your swim, so that would have been off the cards anyway. You wouldn't have been going for your sub 10. So for the fact that you had to defer that onto Cairns, and now you're still going for your sub 10, your mind has now caught up, you're feeling really good both physically and mentally. I feel like that was and I know it's a bit woo-woo, but I feel like that was a sign from the universe to be like, this is it. Everything has led to here. Do you know how
many people messaged me that?
Yeah,
I reckon I got
imagine.
50 messages, and like for me to get 50 messages for me to get 50 messages would be fucking wild. Like I do not get that many DMs. I reckon between texts and DMs, easily 50 of people like, mate, I don't know what if it's the universe or what, but like you got lucky. And I was like, all
Yeah.
right, like I've been given every opportunity now. Like there is no
You
reason for it not to happen.
can't, you can't not let this happen. And
Yeah.
that was rough to watch. I mean, I know my friend Beck was running it. It was her first 70.3 and she really struggled with the swim portion of training. And it was, again, divine timing. I was just like, wow, isn't it so interesting that I feel like the universe was being like, this is not the time for you to get your 70.3 with all three, obviously, disciplines. So now she's going back and she's going to try and do another one. And I love that. But I just was like, one of my mates, he was doing it and I just felt so bad for him because he just put in so much effort. And then to not be able to, in his mind, this is not my words, but, get the full 70.3 experience was rough. So I think you dodged a bullet there.
Yeah, and we had 4 or 5 athletes who are all first time Ironman, like ready to get on the start line, and it was taken from them, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's a gutting experience because all of those boys have trained for a year or more, and
Yeah. And
yeah.
so are they all signing up for ones that are close by, or are they just, what's happening there with them?
I think we're getting the band back together for Ironman Western Australia in December.
Right.
It's Cairns is too close. Like even though you don't do a full Ironman, if we're being fair dinkum about it, the bike and the run is what takes its toll because for most
Yeah.
of them it is 5 to 6 hours and then 3.5 to 5 hours. To do that training, recover is probably 2 weeks, and then you've only got 4 weeks till Cairns to like peak and then taper again. It's just too close. So
Right.
I pretty much gave them an ultimatum. I was like, I gave them 3 options. One, don't get on the start line. Book flights to Cairns now. I had accommodation and everything sorted. Obviously, I was like, come stay with me. All you
Yeah.
got to do is pay for your rego. Option two was a really, really good training day, 180-kilometer bike ride, 21-kilometer run. Come to Cairns. Option three, you do it, and we just focus on Ironman Western Australia. And they all just decided to do it and focus on Western Australia.
And I think that's, oh God, it's just so brutal because, I mean, you spend all this money, right, to go to Port Macquarie
Yeah,
and you do the,
it's a rock and a hard place. Like, it's just a shit
yeah.
situation. There's no
And
right or wrong answer. That's what I
and
said to them.
they don't give you the option to defer it, do they? It's just kind of like, that's it. Too bad.
It's that they would lose like it. I think I don't know how many people were there. A couple of thousand people racing over the 70.3 and the
Yeah.
full. If 50% of people deferred, like they'd just lose so much money. Like it wouldn't be a viable decision. It'd be a nightmare for an admin and all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. Like
Do you think the water was rough enough or not good enough for them to call that, or do you think it was a bit of a hasty decision? Because it was murky? Was that why it wasn't clear?
I didn't hear what the official answer was, but all along the river is like mangrove, so
Yeah.
all the rain sort of churned it all up. So I don't think it was. I think visibility was a part of it, but I do feel like I think there was something to do with actual water quality.
Yeah.
I will say last year we had very similar weather conditions, and I did the practice swim last year with 2 boys who were racing, and I know at least half a dozen people who got like really, really sick, including myself, afterwards.
Oh. So
So I don't go
could that have been why you got really sick on race day
when
for Port Macquarie last year? Or was that Cairns
didn't-
you were...
yeah, I didn't race Port Macquarie last year.
Oh,
I
sorry,
was
that was
coaching.
Cairns. Yeah, right.
I did,
So,
yeah, but I got like a really bad like stomach bug from swimming, and I think it was from swimming in the water because heaps of people.
okay.
I knew 6, and then I heard about heaps of other people who got the crook.
Right,
So-
okay. So, yeah, that makes sense.
But I didn't actually, because I wasn't on the athlete list. I didn't get sent a physical copy of why it happened. But I always Ironman is such a big company. They have all the experts. Like, they literally in the waiver you sign, like, if I die, like, it's not Ironman's fault. Like, they think about fucking
of course.
everything. The people who thought Ironman just were being lazy or didn't want to do it, or like, oh, it's a bit of rain, like, who cares?
No, they're not in the business to do that, though.
Yeah, that was my whole thing. It's like, they have all the experts, they have all the resources in terms of money. Like, it's a multi-billion-dollar company. Like that. They would have looked for every opportunity to put it on, because it's more hassle to not have it, because like they've got to change everything. Like it's actually more work for them to not have the swim on. So I don't like to. I always like to try and take the athlete side, but I think, like, if we're being fair dinkum, Ironman wouldn't have just cancelled it because it was potentially a little bit dangerous. Like, there would have been something legitimate.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine they'd be doing that either. It's just, gosh, it was a bit of a shit situation. But anyway, what do you do?
That's it. So I said to the boys, I was just like, the three options, and, yes, it sucks, but, like, and what? Like, okay, can't swim. Are we just going to complain about it the whole weekend, or are we just going to get on with it?
Move on. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You've got to. It's like, it's like anything. It can be really hot on race day. It can be really raining on race day. You can't do anything about it. You can't change it. Just move on with it. And yeah, as you said, make your decision. You either decide to give it a red hot crack, or you decide to go, okay, I'll use it as a training and move on to the next one.
Yeah. And I don't think all of them, really weird. So all of them went and did it, which is awesome. I don't think any of them regretted it, which is great.
Yep.
Toby, who's our outlier athlete, he went top 10 in his age group, which is unreal. And then the other four boys all finished within a minute of each other, which was wild. Wow.
That's crazy.
It was so bizarre.
That is crazy. And I think, did all the guys ring the bell? I saw that on socials about people going, I'm not ringing the bell, or I am, or that was a whole thing.
I don't think they rang the bell. They're all pretty, and this is just like a classic A-type personality thing, but they're all pretty adamant that they didn't do an Ironman.
Yeah.
So
what's it called? Duathlon?
Duathlon, yeah.
Duathlon, yeah. And
Yeah,
I saw a lot of people online being like, and so the bell is for if it's your first Ironman, you ring the bell.
Yeah, it's the rookie bell, yeah.
Yeah, and so a lot of people kind of ran past the bell and said, this is not an Ironman. And I would feel the same. I would go, nah, I'm not ringing it, because I want the experience of the entire race, all three disciplines.
It'd be like running a marathon and then be like, oh, the first 2 kilometers, like, we're just going to not do that. You're just going to run 40. You'd be like, not really a marathon.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. I'd feel the same. I'd be like, no.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. Good.
It's that's actually one of my big regrets is I didn't ring the bell on my first one.
What? How come? You just forgot, or what was the deal there?
I just wanted to finish so bad. I was like, I'm not taking an extra second. I just ran past it. I didn't even think about it. I just saw the red carpet and I was just, go, finish. Like, if you stop, there is a good chance that you will not start running again. So just go.
Yeah. Oh, I know. They do a similar thing at the Marathon Expos. When it's your first marathon, they ring the bell and everyone cheers.
We did that at our expos too, yeah.
Yeah, I loved that. So, I mean, we don't get that on race day because I think it would be just too many people ringing a bell. 20,000 people ringing. But I do remember making Nick do that because that is a special experience. So that sucks you didn't get to experience that. But, oh well, what do you do?
It is what it is. Still, we still finished it. We actually had... I'm just going to share this because we actually had a hectic weekend that weekend in terms of coaching.
Oh, tell us.
So, on that weekend, we had Hoka Half, Ironman Australia, Hoka 10K, and then the weekend before, we had 2 different half marathons. We had 29 athletes compete. 14 athletes were on debut across all the events. We had a 100% finish rate. We had a 100% goal achievement rate. We had a 91% personal best rate. And Toby went top 10 in age group. And then Bronwyn, shout out Bronwyn, PB'd 2 half marathons within 3 weeks.
Wow. So
That was
got one
our-
PB and then 3 weeks later got another.
Yeah, ran
Epic.
5 minutes quicker in a half marathon 3 weeks later, which is wild. Which wasn't
That is-
even her A race. Like, we aimed for the first one to be the A race and the second one to be the fun race.
And she just had so much fun, she got a PB again.
Just went and smashed it. So
I love that.
Um,
Well, go the Performance Project crew. That's epic.
that was our biggest weekend ever. Like, that was wild.
Have you got a big crew for Sydney?
I needed it in numbers, but yeah, I think we probably have close to 20.
Yeah, that's epic. I love that.
Yeah, I
We'll
think
do a
we're
big
gonna
meet-up.
we're gonna organise a big thing for the weekend. Like, we'll do team dinner on a Friday and then do a shakeout run on the Saturday or something.
Yeah. And guys, I know we keep talking about this run club. We will do it now that I'm home. My mind is definitely, hopefully after tonight and I get a good night's sleep, back in, content and be on the finish line and all that kind of stuff. So we'll organise our run club and do a big meet-up, and everyone can ask Matt
George
a
and I are
billion
actually
questions in
gonna do
person.
a whole business thing.
It's very
sometime in the
serious.
next week or so. We need to get our shit sorted, Georgia, honestly.
We do.
It's just been such bad timing.
Matt was hanging a little bit too much shit on me that I started to be like, wait, are you actually Matt?
The amount of DMs she sent me, she was like, wait, are you being serious? She's like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, go enjoy Greece. I don't care. But BT Dub, don't listen to the last episode. Everyone who listened to the last episode, they'll know what I'm talking about. But Georgia, you don't need to listen to that episode, okay?
I feel like
they're
I
just
do.
they're just asking me questions. It's not interesting. You don't want to listen to it. We'll just keep moving forward.
I'm sure Matt was just hanging shit about how I'm off gallivanting and he was having to do all the hard work or something.
I actually used the word gallivanting. Yes, yeah, I did.
Oh, wow. We're more alike than we think. But no, I was gallivanting, to be honest. I had a bloody great time.
Great.
Highly recommend going to this little island in Italy, guys. If you're ever going over that way, I highly recommend booking a trip to Ischia. It is epic. It's a really cool place. I feel like no tourists were there. We were kind of the only Aussies that we ran into. We saw a couple of American people, but other than that, all the tourists were Italian. It's all on volcanic, so the tomatoes are just insane. Every little restaurant is some kind of nonno or nonna, and it's, epic. It was an awesome week we spent there. And I also don't recommend running in Santorini. That sucks. That was absolute hell on earth.
Just from the hills.
Do you know what? It's the hills and the dust. I think you underestimate how much dust is on the island. Italy is so green, and then when you get to Greece, it's just so dry. Because it just never rains. So the dust really killed my asthma. I just felt like every day there was a stack of books on my chest when I was trying to run. But really great views and everything. But yeah, the stairs are just unrelenting. It's 10 steps up, 10 steps down, then 50 steps up, then 10 steps down. It's just constant, but really, really cool experience to kind of, go for a run and you're stopping. We did a lot of stopping. If you looked at our stats, there's lots of stopping because we were just like, stop and check out the view and take some photos. It was really nice. It's a nice way to run for a nice change. But now straight back into it, so no stopping.
Yeah, well, we got to get your hip sorted.
I know. I actually just booked my MRI, guys, because I thought my hip would be okay after, like London, obviously it was in pain and I was like, I know there's going to be some sort of recovery after that. But the smallest things now are quite painful. Like even just sitting for too long is quite painful. Walking through airports is really painful. So I was like, I need to just book this MRI. You're going to laugh, Matt. I was so desperate to know what was going on that I chucked a bunch of things through ChatGPT. And I was like, here's all my symptoms. Tell me what you think this is, because I was just interested to know what it was I could talk to my doctor about, to be like, this is kind of my symptoms. What does he say? I don't want to go on the Google and just waste time trying to look up shit. So
you
had a
did
look.
the exact same thing, but just ChatGPT.
Yeah, because like, who has time to Google shit now? I just chucked it through chat. But it was very
the exact
interesting.
same thing.
I know, but it just gives me all the info really quickly. And so obviously this is not anything, because ChatGPT is not a doctor and this is not advice for me or anything, but it was just very interesting.
This feels like a really important conversation we need to have, so I'm glad we're having it.
Shut up. It was interesting. So it came back being like, with all your symptoms, I could have gluteal tendinopathy. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was like, it can present as bursitis, which is what my physio and kind of the ultrasound kind of said I had, and I thought that's what it was. But because the cortisone only worked for a couple of weeks, a lot of the stuff that I've now read online is like that this tendinopathy doesn't respond well to a cortisone injection. So hopefully when I go and get this MRI, they can tell me what is actually going on, because I do just think it's more than just bursitis, because it's unrelenting. It's just all day, every day. So hopefully it'll come back with something, but just not something really serious.
I don't know, man. I'm not a doctor and I'm not ChatGPT.
ChatGPT's not a doctor either.
I know, but
I'm
you're
just
taking
curious.
medical advice from it.
But I'm not. Like, I'm not taking advice. I'm just, like, curious to know what it was. I'm not going to now go and do, like, a whole program on physio and trying to cure my tendinopathy.
So then what was the point in looking it up?
Because I was curious. Don't you ever
Curious
get like
at
that?
what?
Where you're
An
just
unqualified AI engine to give you a diagnosis about something you're not going to listen to. What are we doing?
I guarantee you there are people on here who do the same thing. I'm sorry.
I'm
it's
sure
the
they
new
are, but
WebMD.
I'm sure they do. But if you acknowledge it's not a doctor, if you acknowledge you're not going to take the advice it gives you, and you acknowledge that the advice it give you is not as good as a doctor, why'd you even do the process in the first place?
Because
yeah, exactly.
Because now I have the info, right? So when I'm going to go get my MRI,
what info? The info's irrelevant because it's not a doctor.
Shut up.
What are we talking about?
No, so I want to now ask my doctor or my physio to be like, could it be this? Oh, guys, he's so mad. Look at him. He's like almost on the floor being like, he's so frustrated.
This is so stupid.
If this comes back with tendinopathy, you are going to be rolling in it.
No, if it comes back as tendinopathy because the doctor diagnosed it as tendinopathy, I'm glad we got to the fucking bottom of it.
But what if the doctor didn't think of the tendinopathy, and now I'm going to be like, well, what if it's this? And then he goes, okay, let me have a look. And then he works it out because of that. I'm telling you now, my doctor, he wrote on my referral, my right hip, and it's my left hip. Like, really? He's probably on ChatGPT.
Maybe we should talk about the quality of doctor you're seeing rather than like what the issue actually is.
Maybe. Look, he's free and he's around the corner, so I don't
He's free. Sick.
Oh, in Sydney, that is hard to come by, I tell you. It is hard to get a doctor that it does bulk bill, because all of them want to charge you so much money. Well, maybe I need to start seeing someone who charges, because I don't know how good mine is, but
you
won't be listening to this. Yeah, well, clearly. Anyway, but that's kind of my whole Europe recap. I have so much more I could talk about, but I don't want to bore you guys because, who wants to hear about Europe?
Yeah, we don't want to hear about cocktails in Greece, and that's for TikTok. We talk about running. We talk about endurance. We talk about laying bricks, Georgia. That's what we talk about.
Yeah, I laid Cosmo bricks is what I...
Yeah, exactly.
Margaritas, espresso martini. Absolutely tanked my sleep every night. I'm actually very excited to not be drinking now, so no alcohol.
I'm so excited to do a podcast heavily inebriated with you after cans. I want to do one fucking off my head.
Oh, I don't think anyone wants to listen to that.
Do you know what? I reckon if we voted, they'd be like, yeah, I reckon they'd fucking love it because I'm so straight edge all the other times.
Oh, we could just have a real chaotic episode. I'll get drunk, you get drunk, we'll both chat.
Why are you getting drunk?
Oh, just, FOMO.
Yeah, don't drink alone, then it's a problem.
Now we're getting silly.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I hope you guys liked my London Marathon recap. It was nice to talk about it again. I really enjoyed chatting about that. I really enjoyed chatting about Ironman. So many fun things. I'm so happy to be back. Matt, I'm sure you're so happy for me to be back.
Yep. Stop carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders. It's nice.
Oh, boo-hoo. As always, guys, follow us on Instagram and on Spotify. Please like us, save us, follow us, do all those things. That actually really helps us and means that our podcast, when it comes up, it is going to show you that there is a new episode so you don't miss anything. Jump over to YouTube. There's, we're both over there as well, but maybe don't.
I don't know. This episode was pretty visual. I was jumping around and falling out of chairs.
On the floor, getting frustrated. But thank you so much for listening, guys. As always, if you have any questions, hit us up. Matt will answer them. I probably won't. No, just kidding. Thank you for listening. Any last words, Matt?
Hooroo.
Hooroo. Thanks, guys. Bye.